What's going on, y'all? Welcome back with another Wealth Wednesday. We are going to be talking about inflationary hedges, which we are, but I thought that sounded really boring. And nobody wants boring. It's Wednesday. We need a little energy. We're on hump day. So I'm bringing a little energy today. We're going to be talking about breaking the rent cycle, smashing it to pieces. We're going to be culminating everything we've been talking about on Wealth Wednesday. This will be kind of the last bit of this section of Wealth Wednesday, where we're talking about just buying your first house and the importance of it and why you should break the rent cycle in general, which is what we're going over today. What do you need to break the rent cycle? Well, one, you need to find out what loan you're going to be going with. If you were in the armed forces, you might be eligible for a VA loan. If you're looking at USDA zoned land, then you could be eligible for a USDA loan. Both of those require 0% down. Those two loans require 0%. That's what I was trying to do. With 0% down, you're talking about just covering closing costs. And if you have a good realtor, more times than not, they can actually help out covering those closing costs from the seller. It might result in you paying a little bit more or having to loan a little bit more out, or we can get creative with the solutions. It is a very competitive market for buyers, but make no mistake about it, it is way better to get into a house than to continue paying rent. You can also, if you don't qualify for either of those loans, you have two loans you could qualify for, which is the 3% conventional or 3.5% FHA, which is the amount you would need for a down payment. If you can spare that extra 0.5% for the FHA right now, generally speaking, the FHA rates are going to be better than conventional. If you can't, I'm of the proponent that you should get into a house sooner rather than later. With the housing market, it's always time in the market, not timing the market. And I keep trying to tell clients that, the ones who have irrational fears, the housing market crash is still fresh on their mind. I don't blame them, but historically speaking, 4 of the last 5 recessions or economic pullbacks, housing prices have actually appreciated. So yeah, that is still very much a thing, and projections have actually shown that we are looking at least 2 more years of appreciation. It should slow down compared to like last year and the year before that, but that's another story. Those are your loan options. You cover the down payment, you find a good realtor who can help you out, you're talking about just as much as 3.5% to get into a house. Once you can save that, you can say bye-bye to all your landlords that keep trying to raise rent on you year after year. You can say goodbye to rising housing prices because, again, even in recessions, nominally speaking, they keep going up in price. I don't want to pay more for the same house if I let's wait to see what happens with the housing price. Newsflash, housing usually costs more next year. We can look at historical speaking. Over the past 40 years, it's held up pretty well. So keep that in mind. Nobody wants to pay more for the same house next year, on top of the fact that we've already talked about interest rates and how important they are and what the total cost is over the long haul of a loan. If you don't remember that, go ahead and get a refresher. I made a Wealth Wednesday on that. So, inflationary hedge. That's your house. You protect yourself against the rising costs of housing that we're seeing year over year. You protect yourself against the potential of rising interest rates. You protect yourself against the decreasing value of a dollar due to inflation, because money supply is increasing and that diminishes the value of a dollar. You also protecting yourself against rent rising year over year, because look, if all those other factors are taking place, if it's more risky to loan out so interest rates go up, if housing prices are increasing and they know that you can't afford it, so you're going to rent, that means demand's going up for rentals. They're going to raise rent on you. They also know that inflation is happening, which means that the value of their dollar, so that $1,400 you're spending in rent, is not going to be worth as much the next year. It's going to be worth 2% lower. So who gets to bear that cost? Generally speaking, that's going to be you, in the form of raised rent after your lease is over, forcing you to either move or pay that increased price or find a home. So please heed these warnings. I hope this was a good recap of this little section of Wealth Wednesday. Please look into buying a home. If you need an action plan, on how to buy a home in the next 6 months, I got you. It is possible for everybody. And I think at the end of the day, everybody should be looking to own real estate to some degree, whether it's owning your house or owning 100 houses. That's what we're going to be talking about over the course of the rest of Wealth Wednesday. So next week, we'll be talking opportunity cost and how to decide what to do with the money from your first home sale and how much money you're actually going to get from your first home sale. We're going to be talking about all that good stuff next week. Hope to see you there. Hope you finish out the week strong. Thanks for tuning in.